welcome to my channel. My name is Opubo. For those of you new to the channel, I welcome you. And for those of you returning, I welcome you back. Good to have you return. You are well appreciated. As always, in this channel, I present various ideas and designs of technologies, mostly from the Technology IP Bank of Enhanced Knowledge LLC, often integrated from several other technologies already available in the IP Bank and made ready for adoption by the Adoption Brokerage Division. This presentation focuses on biofertilizer process technology to the extent that it has a role in conservation economy, which therefore focuses on the industrial production of biofertilizers for farming, and that is a fundamental in addressing the needs of world hunger, and so enabling a conservation economy from the technological perspective, as well as the approaches a community or region or even a nation could adopt to deploy the technology to ensure the sustaining of conservation economy. Digressing for a moment, however, before delving into the process technology for biofertilizer production, I implore you to please click the subscribe button below now if you have not yet subscribed to the channel. Go ahead, take a moment and subscribe by simply clicking on the subscribe button below. The subscription would cause the system to keep you informed by notification of the next presentation and the moment one is published. And also, of course, help me to more consistently continue to elicit the peace dividends of conservation economy. Now back to the presentation. Biofertilizers are fertilizers produced out of biological materials instead of the traditional chemical substances. The manner of availing society of fertilizers has been by the synthetic means of chemical reactions that produce a set of chemical compounds. Of course, these chemical fertilizers have been a major issue of contention and has been an underlying factor in numerous pollution problems all over the world. During rainfalls, these chemical fertilizers readily run off the farm where they had been applied. The result of such runoffs is that the farm is deprived of fertilizers and more have to be applied. And of course, the runoff, when emptied into the streams and rivers, becomes the food of microorganisms, which then bloom and create all sorts of issues to the neighboring communities. Biofertilizers, on the other hand, being mostly organic oils from a strong addition affinity with the farm soil, and as such do not run off during rainfalls. Consequently, the issue of environmental pollution associated with chemical fertilizers do not occur with biofertilizers. Moreover, while the chemical fertilizers assimilation by plants still have to pass through the normal anabolism to amino acids and then the biosynthesis utilization of the amino acids, with biofertilizers, the bulk of the anabolic reactions or anabolism are leapfrogged with the plants, almost ready for biosynthesis and therefore cause growth acceleration. One design of the Technology IP Bank for the industrial scale production of biofertilizers utilizes raw materials that are developed from greenhouse gases and as such does not only enable food supply acceleration to counter world hunger, partially caused by the climate change, but actually provisions a means of sequestration of the culprits of climate change and thereby mitigates the effect of the climate circumstance. The process technology design is as shown in the figure. Conceptually, cyanobacteria are fed optimal mixture of domestic and agricultural discards and gases to induce the production of macro and micronutrients need of algae, which is subsequently fed with the cyanobacteria post-death leftover to cause the algae to reset the amino acids more in alignment with plant use forms and becomes a final product of biofertilizers. By design, the technology consists of an air gas separation unit operations, cyanobacteria cultivation by a reactor, cyanobacteria decomposition by a reactor, algae cultivation by a reactor, algae decomposition by a reactor, and 3 storage tanks, 2 of which are sources for carboxylic acid and amino acid respectively, and the third one for the storage of the final product biofertilizer. Looking at the process design, the air gas separation unit operations is the most upfront and consists of an intake stack to the left and connected to a box-like drawing that embodies compressors, air compressors, and mechanical controllers, and dust filtration equipment, and a host of others, and a mixer that blends the carbon dioxide and oxygen in the species-specific composition, and finally, the tall tank within which the gas separation actually occurs. Further up and to the left are the cyanobacteria cultivation by reactor, and just beyond that is the cyanobacteria decomposition reactor. And to the right of this pair is algae cultivation by a reactor, and again, just beyond is the algae decomposition by a reactor. Up above and farthest are the 3 storage tanks, with the leftmost being the carboxylic acid tank, and the middle one being the amino acid tank, and the rightmost being the biofertilizer storage tank. During operations, cyanobacteria are fed a mixture of biodiscards and a species-specific blended oxygen carbon dioxide blend and nitrogen to enable large-scale nitrogen fixing to produce the nutrients, nitrates that the algae requires, all of which gases are produced with the air gas separation unit operations. The cyanobacteria species is subsequently let die in the secondary bioreactor or the decomposition bioreactor, and resulting solution pumped into the algae cultivation bioreactor, which is also fed simultaneously carboxylic acid and amino acids, that in so doing provisions the algae both micro and macro nutrients requirement. The bioreactor is also fed with gas, blended gas, species-specific gas mixture from the mixer, the gas mixers that is part of the air gas separation unit operations. The algae slurry of the cultivation bioreactor are subsequently pumped into a decomposition sanitation bioreactor or the algae decomposition bioreactor, where upon the exhaustion of food, the algae dies and decomposes while the mixture is sanitized to prevent growth of contaminating bacteria. Surmising from the trace of the process technology performance so far, there can be uniform acceptance at this time that in fact there is conservation economic technology that enables industrial scale production of biofertilizers for use in farms, whether in fields or urban farms, that will enable the safe farm produce harvesting for use in any other conservation economy technology that produces farm produce. The materials of construction of the process equipment being mostly steel, the process technology is well suited for the utilization of discarded process equipment of process companies that have shuttered in every region, allowing for the elimination from reuse of such equipment that would otherwise be branded as waste. So under the requirements of conservation economy, this technology has a significant role of service. Now then, if interested in licensing this technology, please send an email to me. The email address is put in the pinned link below, as are other useful information. Regarding licensing consideration, there are some notes that should be of interest though. Worthy of note about the process design is the direct utilization of carboxylic acid to feed the cyanobacteria for accelerated production of the micronutrients needs, the needs of the algae that subsequently are fed with the remains of the cyanobacteria, which thereby requires providing a source for carboxylic acids. Meaning this technology may have to be co-licensed with a carboxylic acid process technology. Of course, that requirement quickly expands the licensing scope because the carboxylic process technology requires the co-licensing of one of the two carbon capture technologies. In addition, for the same purpose of not having to provision chemical micronutrients and macronutrients, the cyanobacteria and the algae were also provisioned amino acids as feed, which stipulates the requirement of providing a source also for amino acids, implying yet again that this technology may have to be co-licensed with an amino acid process technology. In addition, there is the air gas separation unit operations that brings a different dimension to the licensing and deployment of the technology. Because such is required both for the carboxylic production and also here required for the algae and cyanobacteria, this unit operation is a critical component that would also require being co-licensed as sub-process. These consequential requirements, of course, quickly expands the comprehensive deployment of the process technology as being actually composed of 5 sub-processes, each of which has its licensing requirements. Then there is a configuring of the several mirror equipment process controllers, a distributed control system into distributed computing system of distributed control system, or even distributed supercomputing control servers computing system of distributed control system, making a significant cost of licensing and adoption. On that note, I wrap up the presentation and I say to you, thank you for being here, and I appreciate your coming to listen and viewing the presentation. And if you have not subscribed as yet, do please subscribe to the channel now. I do hope and expect that you would consider coming back to the presentations for the rest of the future presentations of the varied technologies. The fact is, even if you do not adopt any of the technologies, some might just change your perspective of society and life. Until the next presentation, I wish you be well.